The scrapyard saviors. The starship graveyard orbiting Earth was supposed to be humanity's tomb. Instead, it became the cradle of our salvation. Commander Zara Chen stayed at the viewport of Lunar Base Omega, her weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass. The view beyond was a silent apocalypse, the shattered remains of Earth's once proud defense fleet drifting lifelessly against the backdrop of her wounded homeworld. Occasional flashes of light punctuated the darkness as the Combine's energy weapons continued their relentless bombardment of the planet below. They're going to break through the last shield generator within 48 hours, General Marcus Holloway's gruff voice came from behind her. After that, there's nothing standing between 7 billion humans and extinction. Chen didn't turn around. Tell me something I don't know, Marcus. The silence stretched between them, broken only by the muted beeps and whirs of the command center's equipment. Finally, Holloway spoke again, his voice softer this time. The council's made their decision. They're initiating the Omega Protocol. Now Chen did turn, her eyes widening in disbelief. They can't be serious. That's tantamount to surrender. Holloway's craggy features twisted into a grimace. They're calling it managed capitulation. The Combines offered to spare a portion of the population if we agree to immediate and unconditional surrender. Chen's fists clenched at her sides. And how long before those spared humans are worked to death in dilithium mines or dissected in Combine labs? No, I won't accept this. It's not up to us anymore, Zara, Holloway said, resignation heavy in his voice. The order goes out in 6 hours. After that, anyone continuing armed resistance will be considered a rogue element. Chen turned back to the viewport, her mind racing. 6 hours to save humanity from both annihilation and capitulation. It was an impossible task. She'd always thrived on impossible tasks. Get me Dr. Imani Okoro, Chen said, a plan already forming in her mind. And have your best infiltration team meet me in Hangar Bay 3 in 20 minutes. Holloway's eyebrows shot up. Okoro, the scrapyard engineer. What are you planning, Zara? A ghost of a smile played across Chen's lips. Something crazy enough that it just might work. And Marcus, make sure that team of yours doesn't mind getting their hands dirty. We're going dumpster diving. Dr. Imani Okoro's workshop was barely controlled chaos. Pieces of alien and human technology lay scattered across every available surface in various states of disassembly and reconfiguration. The engineer herself was hunched over a workbench, her dark skin gleaming with sweat as she carefully fused components that were never meant to work together. I hope you're going to tell me you've changed your mind about scrapping the Lazarus project, Okoro said without looking up as Chen entered. Because I'm about 5 minutes away from a breakthrough that's going to make you eat every word of that impossible and a waste of resources speech you gave last month. Chen allowed herself a rueful chuckle. Looks like I'm going to be eating those words either way, Doctor. I need Lazarus, and I need it operational yesterday. Now Okoro did look up, her eyes narrowing behind protective goggles. What's changed? Everything, Chen replied grimly. She quickly outlined the situation, the imminent failure of the shields, the Council's decision, the looming deadline. Okoro let out a low whistle. 6 hours to resurrect a dead ship, integrate alien tech we barely understand, and somehow take on a combined fleet that outguns us 100 to 1. That's impossible, Chen finished. A slow grin spread across Okoro's face. I was going to say exactly the kind of challenge I live for, but sure, let's go with impossible. It'll make it all the sweeter when we pull it off. Chen felt a spark of hope ignite in her chest. So you were in. Okoro was already moving, grabbing tools and barking orders at a small team of assistants. I've been reverse engineering combined tech since they glassed my hometown in Lagos. It's about time we put it to use. But Commander, we're going to need raw materials. A lot of them. Chen nodded. Already on it. I've got a team prepping for a salvage run to the debris field as we speak. You focus on getting Lazarus's core systems online. I'll make sure you have the pieces you need to make it live up to its name. As Chen turned to leave, Okoro called out to her, "Commander, this is going to work. It has to." Chen met the engineer's determined gaze. "Humanity's not going down without a fight, Doctor. And if I have anything to say about it, we're not going down at all." The stealth shuttle cut silently through the debris field, its adaptive camouflage rendering it nearly invisible against the backdrop of twisted metal and shattered dreams. Inside, Chen and her hand-picked team worked with grim efficiency, magnetic grapples, snagging choice pieces of wreckage and hauling them aboard. "Man, we've got incoming," Lieutenant Ravi Dasgupta warned from the pilot's seat. "Combined patrol, vectoring right for us." Chen's mind raced through their options. They couldn't risk a firefight, not here, not now. "How close to that combined cruiser wreck are we?" Dasgupta checked his instruments. "About 500 meters port side." "Take us in," Chen ordered. "Hug the hull. With any luck, their sensors will have trouble distinguishing us from the wreckage." The shuttle banked hard, diving towards the massive, broken form of the alien warship. Chen's stomach lurched as Dasgupta executed a series of evasive maneuvers, weaving through jagged pieces of debris. A tense minute passed, then another. "They're moving off," Dasgupta reported, relief evident in his voice. "Looks like they bought it." Chen allowed herself a small sigh of relief. "Good work, Lieutenant. Now, let's see what presents our uninvited guests left behind." The team worked quickly, cutting their way into the cruiser's ruptured hull. Inside, they found a treasure trove of alien technology, power cores, weapon systems, and most critically, pieces of the Combine's advanced shielding technology. As they loaded the last of their salvage, a priority message came through on Chen's comm. It was Holloway, his voice tight with urgency. "Zara, we've got a problem." The Council pushed up the timetable. "They're initiating the Omega Protocol in 2 hours." Chen's blood ran cold. 2 hours. "Marcus, we need more time." "I'm stalling as best I can, but it won't be enough. Whatever you're planning, it needs to happen now." Chen closed her eyes, weighing their options. They weren't ready. Lazarus was barely more than a framework and a prayer at this point, but they were out of alternatives. "Understood," she said finally. "Inform Dr. Okoro we're on our way back. And Marcus, buy us every second you can." As the shuttle raced back towards the lunar base, Chen looked out at the battered Earth. In the distance, the combined fleet hung in high orbit, a sword of Damocles poised to end humanity's story once and for all. "Not today," Chen whispered, her resolve hardening. "This isn't how our story ends." Little did she know, the most extraordinary chapter in human history was about to begin. The Phoenix Gambit. The hangar bay of Lunar Base Omega thronged with frenetic energy. At its center stood the improbable hope of humanity, a patchwork leviathan that defied conventional engineering. The vessel, if one could call it that, was a chimera of human ingenuity and alien technology, held together by desperation and Dr. Imani Okoro's brilliance. "I christen thee Lazarus," Commander Zara Chen announced, her voice carrying over the din of last-minute preparations. "May you rise from the ashes of our defeat and carry us to victory." As if in response, the ship's systems flared to life, a kaleidoscope of human and combined interfaces blinking into existence. Okoro's team cheered, exhausted but exhilarated. "I can't believe we actually pulled this off," Lieutenant Ravi Dasgupta muttered, staring at the monstrous creation before them. Chen allowed herself a grim smile. "We haven't pulled anything off yet, Lieutenant. The real test is still to come." General Holloway's voice crackled over the comms, urgency evident even through the static. "Chen, we're out of time. The Council's bypassed my overrides. Omega Protocol initiates in 15 minutes. "Understood," Chen replied, her mind racing. "All hands, prepare for immediate launch. This is not a drill." As the crew scrambled to their stations, Chen turned to Okoro. "Doctor, Please tell me you have good news about our offense capabilities. Okoro's eyes gleamed with a manic light. Oh, I've got something better than good news, Commander. I've got a trump card. She led Chen to a nondescript panel near the ship's bow. We managed to salvage the Combine's quantum entanglement cannon. But here's the kicker. We've merged it with our own experimental dark matter reactor. Chen's eyebrows shot up. That's incredibly dangerous. Oh, absolutely, Okoro agreed cheerfully. We're basically firing miniature black holes at the enemy. One wrong calculation and we could tear a hole in the fabric of space-time. And you're sure this will work? Okoro's grin widened. Not even a little bit. But it's our best shot at punching through their defenses. Chen nodded, decision made. Then that's what we'll do. Prepare to fire on my mark. As Lazarus rose from the lunar surface, alarms blared throughout the base. The combined fleet, alerted to the unexpected launch, began to move into attack formation. This is Commander Chen to all Earth defense stations. Chen broadcast on an open channel. Omega Protocol is hereby rescinded by my authority. Lazarus is engaging the enemy. All units provide supporting fire. Confusion reigned in the opening moments of the battle. The combined ships, expecting an easy victory over demoralized defenders, found themselves instead facing a resurgent human force led by a vessel that defied classification. Lazarus darted between enemy ships with surprising agility for its cobbled-together frame. Where combined energy beams struck, scavenged shield technology flared to life, adapting in real time to the assault. Now, Doctor, Chen ordered as they closed on the combined flagship. Okoro unleashed their secret weapon. A lance of darkness, darker than the void of space itself, leaped from Lazarus towards the alien vessel. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, reality itself seemed to warp around the point of impact. The flagship's hull crumpled inward, entire sections of the massive ship imploding as if crushed by an invisible fist. Holy shit, the Sculptor breathed. It actually worked. The combined fleet faltered, clearly unprepared for this level of resistance. Taking advantage of their confusion, Chen pressed the attack. All ships, concentrate fire on these coordinates. Let's show these bastards what happens when you back humanity into a corner. What followed was a battle that would be spoken of in hushed, awe-filled tones for generations to come. Lazarus danced through the chaos, its hybrid systems allowing it to shrug off blows that would have vaporized any normal vessel. Each shot from its quantum entanglement cannon wreaked havoc on combined formations, creating localized gravitational anomalies that pulled enemy ships into each other or tore them apart from within. But the Combine did not become the dominant force in the galaxy by being easily defeated. As the initial shock wore off, they began to adapt, focusing their fire on Lazarus with terrifying precision. Shields at 30% and falling, the Sculptor reported, his fingers flying over the controls. We can't take much more of this. Chen gritted her teeth. They were so close. The combined fleet was in disarray, but their numbers were still overwhelming. They needed something to tip the scales decisively. It was Okoro who provided the answer. Commander, what if we overloaded the dark matter reactor? Channel all its power into one final shot. That would tear Lazarus apart, Chen protested. Okoro nodded grimly. Yes, but it might just take the entire combined fleet with us. It's our only play left. Chen looked around at her crew, seeing the determination in their eyes. They had known this was likely a one-way mission from the start. Do it, she ordered. As Okoro began the overload sequence, Chen opened a channel to Earth. This is Commander Chen. Lazarus is about to unleash its final attack. All friendly units, retreat to minimum safe distance immediately. The ship shuddered as power built to impossible levels. Warning klaxons blared as systems began to fail across the board. It's been an honor serving with you all, Chen said to her crew. Then, to Okoro, light him up, Doctor. Okoro slammed her hand down on the launch control. For a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Then Lazarus exploded. But this was no ordinary explosion. A sphere of utter darkness expanded outward at impossible speed, engulfing combined ships in its wake. Where it touched, matter simply ceased to be, erased from existence as if it had never been. When the effect finally dissipated, the space around Earth was empty save for scattered debris. The combined invasion fleet was gone. So too, it seemed, was Lazarus and her valiant crew. On Earth and the remaining orbital stations, celebrations erupted as the realization of victory set in. Humanity had faced its darkest hour and emerged triumphant against all odds. But in a small, shielded observation post on the far side of the moon, General Holloway watched the aftermath with a mixture of awe and concern, because in the last moments before Lazarus vanished, his instruments had detected something impossible, a quantum signature indicating that the ship hadn't been destroyed, but rather displaced. As he stared at the readouts, a wild hope began to form in his mind. Perhaps, just perhaps, this wasn't the end of Lazarus's story, but merely the beginning of an even greater adventure. Somewhere out there in the vast, unknown reaches of space, Commander Zara Chen and her intrepid crew might still be fighting, still defying the impossible. And Holloway swore that no matter how long it took, he would find a way to bring them home. Quantum echoes and starborn legends. The void between galaxies is a realm of eternal night, where even starlight fears to tread. Yet it was here, in this impossible darkness, that Lazarus found herself reborn. Commander Zara Chen's eyes snapped open, her breath catching in her throat as awareness flooded back. The bridge of Lazarus hummed with an otherworldly energy, displays flickering with readings that defied comprehension. "Status report," she croaked, her voice hoarse as if unused for centuries. Dr. Imani Okoro's face swam into view, the engineer's eyes wide with a mixture of excitement and terror. "We're alive, Commander, though I'm not entirely sure where or when we are." As the crew of Lazarus regained consciousness, the true scope of their situation began to unfold. The quantum entanglement cannon's final desperate shot had not destroyed them, but instead catapulted them across vast stretches of space and potentially time itself. According to these readings, Lieutenant Descupta said, his voice filled with awe, "We're in intergalactic space, but that's impossible. The nearest galaxy should be millions of light-years away." Chen moved to the main viewport, and her breath caught in her throat. Before them stretched a vista of cosmic majesty unlike anything humanity had ever witnessed. Galaxies swirled in a grand celestial dance, their spiraling arms seeming close enough to touch. "It's beautiful," someone whispered. "And terrifying," Chen added. "We have no idea where Earth is, or if it even still exists in whatever time we've landed in." As the initial shock wore off, the crew of Lazarus threw themselves into the monumental task of understanding their new reality. Okoro and her team worked tirelessly to decipher the changes the quantum leap had wrought on their cobbled-together systems. "It's like Lazarus has evolved," Okoro explained, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "The merger of human and combined tech, supercharged by our journey through, whatever it was we traveled through, it's created something entirely new. We're not just a ship anymore. We're a quantum-entangled entity existing partially outside normal spacetime." Chen raised an eyebrow. "And what exactly does that mean for us?" Okoro's grin widened. "It means, Commander, that we can do this." She tapped a series of commands into her console. Suddenly, the view outside shimmered and changed. Where moments before there had been an endless vista of galaxies, now they saw the familiar blue marble of Earth. "Are we home?" Descupta asked, hope and disbelief warring in his voice. Okoro shook her head. "Not exactly. We're viewing Earth as it was when we left, through a sort of quantum echo. We can observe, but we can't interact, at least not yet." Over the following weeks, if such a term even applied in their new state of existence, the crew of Lazarus learned to harness their ship's incredible new abilities. They could shift their quantum state, observing events across vast stretches of space and time. They witnessed the birth and death of stars, the collision of galaxies, and the long, slow dance of cosmic evolution. But always, their thoughts turned to Earth and the fate of humanity. As they honed their control over Lazarus's quantum nature, they began to catch glimpses of Earth's future. They saw humanity rebuilding in the wake of the Combine invasion. Reverse engineering captured alien technology to create a new golden age of exploration and discovery. They also saw darker futures, timelines where the Combine returned in greater numbers, or where humanity's own worst impulses led to devastating wars among the stars. "We have to find a way back," Chen declared, her resolve hardening. "Not just to our time, but to make a difference, to ensure humanity's best possible future." It was Dasgupta who stumbled upon the key. "Commander, I think I've found something. A pattern in the quantum fluctuations. If we time it just right, we might be able to slip back into our own timeline." The plan was audacious, even by Lazarus's standards. They would use the ship's quantum nature to essentially surf a wave of cosmic background radiation, aiming for the exact moment of their disappearance from the battle against the Combine. "If this works," Okoro cautioned, "we'll be returning to a point where our past selves are about to trigger the overload. The temporal mechanics alone are giving me a headache." Chen nodded grimly. "We'll have seconds to prevent our past selves from activating the weapon. If we fail..." "Total temporal paradox," Okoro finished. "Best case scenario, we blink out of existence. Worst case, we take a large chunk of the universe with us." The crew of Lazarus steeled themselves for their greatest challenge yet. As Dasgupta initiated the quantum leap sequence, Chen opened a ship-wide channel. "Whatever happens next," she said, her voice steady, "know that it has been the greatest honor of my life to serve with each and every one of you. We've seen wonders beyond imagining and faced challenges that would break lesser crews. Now we have a chance to take everything we've learned and use it to safeguard humanity's future. Let's make it count." With a flash of impossible energies, Lazarus plunged back into the time stream. They emerged in the midst of chaos, their past selves locked in desperate battle against the Combined fleet. "Now," Chen ordered. Okoro unleashed the full power of their evolved systems. A wave of quantum energy washed over the battlefield, freezing every ship in place as if time itself had stopped. In the eerie silence that followed, the crew of Lazarus watched as a version of their ship, battered, damaged, but unbelievably still intact, materialized beside them. Chen opened a channel to her past self. "This is Commander Chen of the future Lazarus. Stand down. Do not activate the quantum weapon. I repeat, do not activate the weapon." For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, Chen stared at her own shocked face on the view screen. Then, slowly, her past self nodded. "I don't understand," past Chen said, "but I trust you." Or, me. Deactivating the weapon. As the quantum freeze began to fade, Chen turned to her crew. "Let's finish this. For Earth, for humanity, for every possible future we've glimpsed." What followed was a battle unlike any the universe had ever seen. Two versions of Lazarus, one a patchwork miracle of human ingenuity, the other a quantum-evolved cosmic anomaly, fought as one against the Combined fleet. The aliens, already reeling from the earlier fight, found themselves hopelessly outmatched against an enemy that seemed to bend the very laws of physics to its will. Combined ships phased out of existence, were caught in localized time loops, or simply disintegrated as Lazarus unleashed the full potential of its evolved systems. In the end, it wasn't even close. The Combined fleet was routed, fleeing in disarray from the combined might of humanity's greatest creation. As the dust settled and celebrations erupted across Earth, Chen found herself face to face with her past self on Lazarus's bridge. "I have so many questions," past Chen said, shaking her head in wonder. Chen smiled, "And I have so many answers. But first, we need to talk about the future. Our future, humanity's future." As the two versions of Lazarus hung in high Earth orbit, their crews began the monumental task of integrating their experiences and technology. They had glimpsed the infinite possibilities that lay before humanity, both wondrous and terrible. Now, armed with knowledge from beyond time and space, they would ensure that humanity's path led to the stars and beyond, ready to face whatever challenges the universe might throw their way. For Lazarus and her crew, their greatest adventure was just beginning. Cosmic chess and the multiversal nexus. The merging of the two Lazarus crews sparked a revolution in human understanding of the cosmos. As Earth celebrated its improbable victory over the Combine, Commander Zara Chen and her temporally displaced team worked tirelessly to integrate their advanced knowledge into humanity's burgeoning interstellar civilization. "We're calling it the Nexus Protocol," Dr. Imani Okoro explained to a rapt audience of Earth's scientific elite. Holographic displays shimmered around her, depicting mind-bending visualizations of quantum mechanics and multiversal theory. It's not just faster-than-light travel, it's the key to navigating the very fabric of reality itself. The implications were staggering. Humanity now possessed the ability to not only traverse vast distances in space, but to peek into alternate timelines and even influence the flow of causality itself. It was power beyond imagining, and it came with a terrible burden of responsibility. As Earth's first Nexus-capable ships prepared to launch, a chilling discovery rocked the fledgling human empire to its core. Lieutenant Ravi Dasgupta, his skills honed by years of quantum surfing through time and space, detected an anomaly that defied explanation. "Commander," he called, his voice tight with urgency, "you need to see this." Chen rushed to his station, her eyes widening as she took in the readings. "Is that?" Dasgupta nodded grimly. "A combined fleet, bigger than anything we've ever encountered, and it's not just from our universe." The holographic display zoomed out, revealing a terrifying truth. The Combine hadn't just been an alien empire. They were a multiversal plague, consuming entire realities in their insatiable hunger for conquest. The fleet they had defeated was merely the tip of an impossibly vast iceberg. "They're converging on our reality," Chen realized, her mind racing. "Our victory here must have alerted them to our potential as a threat." The next few months were a whirlwind of activity as humanity prepared for a war unlike any in history. The Lazarus, now upgraded with the full might of Nexus technology, became the flagship of Earth's defensive fleet. But even with their newfound powers, the odds seemed insurmountable. It was Okoro who proposed the audacious plan that would come to be known as the Cosmic Chess Gambit. "We can't beat them through brute force," she argued. "But with the Nexus Protocol, we don't have to. We can outmaneuver them across multiple realities simultaneously." The strategy was mind-bogglingly complex. Using their ability to view and subtly influence alternate timelines, the human fleet would engage in a multiversal game of feints and counterattacks. They would seed nascent universes with technology to create allies, redirect the flow of time to erase combined victories before they happened, and even merge favorable realities to strengthen their position. As the Combine Armada approached, humanity unleashed its masterstroke. The Lazarus, piloted by Chen and her elite crew, dove into the quantum foam between realities. They emerged not in one place, but in thousands simultaneously, each version of the ship existing in a superposition of states that defied conventional physics. The battle that followed was a spectacle beyond human comprehension. Entire galaxies were used as tactical terrain, with stars snuffed out and reborn in the blink of an eye. Time flowed backwards and forwards, with cause and effect becoming meaningless in the face of quantum manipulation. At the heart of it all was the Lazarus, dancing between realities, each movement a carefully calculated step in a cosmic ballet of destruction. Chen's tactical genius, honed across countless potential futures, allowed her to predict and counter the Combine's moves before they even conceived of them. But even with their godlike powers, victory was far from assured. The Combine's numbers seemed endless, pouring in from dying universes like a multiversal flood. For every reality where humanity triumphed, there were a dozen where they fell. In the crucible of this impossible war, humanity was forced to confront the very nature of existence itself. What did it mean to win when infinite versions of yourself were simultaneously victorious and defeated? How could one maintain their identity when split across countless quantum states? These philosophical quandaries were more than abstract musings. They became tactical considerations in a conflict that transcended traditional concepts of warfare. As the battle reached its fever pitch, Chen made a decision that would alter the course of history across all realities. "We need to collapse the quantum waveform," she declared, "force a single definitive outcome." The risk was enormous. By collapsing the myriad possibilities into a single timeline, they would be gambling everything on one final throw of the cosmic dice. If they failed, it wouldn't just mean the defeat of their Earth, but the eradication of every potential future where humanity might have triumphed. With the fate of all possible worlds hanging in the balance, Chen gave the order. The Lazarus, in all its infinite variations, converged on a single point in spacetime. The accumulated quantum potential of countless realities focused into a beam of pure possibility. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath. Then, with a flash that outshone the birth of universes, the waveform collapsed. As the blinding light faded, Chen found herself on the bridge of a single Lazarus, surrounded by her original crew. Outside the viewports, the tattered remnants of the combined fleet drifted lifelessly in space. For a moment, no one dared to speak, afraid that the slightest sound might shatter the fragile peace. Then, slowly, reports began to come in from across the cosmos. In every reality, in every timeline, the Combine had been utterly defeated. Humanity had not just won a battle, they had reshaped the very nature of existence itself, cementing their place as custodians of the multiverse. As celebrations erupted across 1 trillion worlds in 1 billion realities, Chen allowed herself a small, tired smile. They had achieved the impossible, but she knew their greatest challenges still lay ahead. For in their victory, humanity had glimpsed the true scope of creation and the terrible responsibilities that came with their newfound power. The cosmic chess gambit was over, but the game of existence had only just begun. And somewhere, in the infinite expanse of the multiverse, new players were stirring, drawn by the light of humanity's impossible triumph. The Lazarus and her crew had reshaped reality itself. Now they would have to live with the consequences, the singularity cipher and the omniversal awakening. In the wake of humanity's multiversal triumph, a new era dawned. Earth, once a tiny blue marble in an unremarkable galaxy, now stood as the nexus of a pan-dimensional civilization that spanned countless realities. The Lazarus, piloted by the legendary commander Zara Chen, had become a symbol of hope and a beacon of exploration across the infinite tapestry of existence. But with great power came challenges beyond imagining. "We're detecting something," Lieutenant Descupta reported, his brow furrowed as he studied readings that defied conventional analysis. "It's like static in the quantum foam, but purposeful." Dr. Okoro leaned in, her eyes widening. "It's a message." "No, more than that. It's a challenge." As the crew of a Lazarus deciphered the anomaly, they uncovered a truth that shook the foundations of their understanding. The multiverse was not a natural phenomenon, but a vast simulation, a cosmic petri dish created by entities so advanced they made humanity's newfound powers seem childish in comparison. And now, those entities had taken notice of the upstart species that had dared to rewrite the rules of their grand experiment. "They're calling themselves the Architects," Chen explained to the hastily assembled council of Earth's greatest minds. "And they've issued an ultimatum. We have one planetary rotation to prove our worth, or they'll reset the entire multiverse, erasing not just our history, but the very possibility of our existence." The challenge set before them was nothing less than the singularity cipher, a problem of such complexity that it required simultaneously solving every mathematical and philosophical quandary across all possible realities. It was a test designed to be impossible, a cosmic filter to weed out civilizations deemed unworthy of ascension. Humanity, with characteristic defiance, refused to accept impossibility. "We've bent reality to our will before," Okoro declared, her voice filled with fierce determination. "We'll do it again." What followed was a mobilization of intellect on a scale never before witnessed. Every human mind, across every version of Earth in every accessible reality, was linked into a vast cognitive network. AIs, uplifted animals, and even the digitized consciousnesses of long-dead geniuses were brought to bear on the problem. The Lazarus itself became the focal point of this unprecedented effort. Its quantum-entangled systems, evolved far beyond their original design, served as the conduit through which the collective knowledge and creativity of an entire species flowed. As the deadline approached, humanity's efforts reached a fever pitch. Realities were folded and unfolded like cosmic origami, each permutation bringing them incrementally closer to a solution. The fabric of space-time groaned under the weight of so much concentrated thought and possibility. With mere moments to spare, a breakthrough came from the most unexpected of sources. A child on a backwater Earth, in a reality where technology had barely reached the industrial age, scrawled a simple equation in the dirt. That equation, propagated through the multiversal network, became the key that unlocked the singularity cipher. The response was instantaneous. Reality itself seemed to hiccup, and the crew of the Lazarus found themselves in a realm beyond description, a place where thought and matter were one, where the concepts of space and time held no meaning. Before them stood the architects, or rather, manifested a presence that human minds could scarcely comprehend. They were not hostile entities, but curious creators, fascinated by the pet project that had exceeded all expectations. "You have proven yourselves worthy," the architects communicated, not in words, but in pure conceptual understanding. "The experiment has yielded unprecedented results. You may join us as equals in the stewardship of creation." It was an offer beyond imagination, godhood on a scale that dwarfed even humanity's multiversal empire. But Chen, serving as humanity's avatar in this impossible dialogue, hesitated. "We've seen the wonders and horrors of power beyond reckoning," she replied. "We've reshaped reality and nearly lost ourselves in the process. Perhaps we're not ready for this next step." The architect's response was tinged with something akin to surprise, an emotion they had not experienced in eons beyond count. "You would reject ascension. Fascinating. Unprecedented." Chen stood firm, buoyed by the collective will of humanity flowing through her. "We don't reject it. We simply choose to walk our own path, to earn this power step by step, to grow into it naturally rather than have it granted all at once." For a moment that encompassed eternities, the architects considered. Then, with a gesture that reshaped the very nature of reality, they acquiesced. "So be it," they decreed. "You have proven yourselves worthy not just of power, but of wisdom. The multiverse shall remain open to you, to explore and shape as you will. When you are ready, if you are ever ready, you may join us. Until then, we shall watch your progress with great interest." With another reality-altering hiccup, the Lazarus and her crew found themselves back in familiar space. But the universe around them had fundamentally changed. The barriers between realities had thinned, allowing for easier travel and communication across the multiverse. New forms of matter and energy presented themselves, offering avenues of scientific exploration that would keep humanity busy for eons to come. As celebrations erupted across countless Earths, Chen gazed out at the star-studded void, a small smile playing on her lips. They had faced the ultimate challenge and emerged victorious not through raw power, but through the uniquely human traits of creativity, adaptability, and the wisdom to know their own limitations. "Where to now, Commander?" Dasgupta asked, his voice filled with awe at the infinite possibilities stretching out before them. Chen's smile widened. "Everywhere, Lieutenant. We have a multiverse to explore, civilizations to meet, and wonders beyond imagining to discover. Our journey is just beginning." As the Lazarus's engines hummed to life, preparing to dive once more into the quantum foam, Chen felt a sense of profound anticipation. Humanity had proven itself on the grandest possible stage, earning not godhood, but something far more precious: the freedom to forge their own destiny among the stars. The singularity cipher had been solved, but the greatest mysteries of existence still lay ahead, and humanity, led by the intrepid crew of the Lazarus, was ready to face them all.